I am so honored to introduce an amazing champion to you. Not only a champion of Providence House, but a track and field superstar on the world stage. Tianna Madison is a native of Elyria who harnessed her athletic and academic talents to pursue a degree in social work from the University of Tennessee. While working toward her bachelor's degree, she decided to take a brief break and embark on a professional track and field career, which led Tianna to becoming a two-time Olympian, earning 9 global championship medals, including 3 Olympic gold medals and 3 world championship titles. Yep. Woo! And she's going to be here. Upon retiring from professional athletics, Tianna returned to the University of Tennessee to complete her bachelor's degree in social work and applied for an internship at Providence House, something we typically do not offer undergraduate students because of the sensitive and complex nature of the work we do with families. However, we decided to make an exception for Tianna. You're going to see why, and we are glad we did. From the day she interviewed to be an intern with us to the day she left to expand her dreams and her family further, Tianna has always said, how can I help? How can I help the families and children? How can I help Providence House? And most importantly, how can I help the community understand how they can help us? So Tianna's professionalism, empathy, her commitment to confronting challenges, it permeates everything she does. After becoming a licensed social worker, she was officially hired by us as a member of our staff in aftercare coordination, providing ongoing support to families after their children returned home following our services. And her ability to build rapport and trust with our families and supporting our clients was unbelievable. She was an outstanding member of our team until another dream came true for her. She is now combining her passion for advocacy, mentorship, and social change as an NCAA Division I track and field coach at San Jose State University in California, while also pursuing her master's in community development and leadership and being an amazing mom to 3-year-old Kai. It's my honor to introduce you to Tianna Madison.
Thank you, Natalie, for the introduction, and that was my entire speech. No, I stand before you extremely honored to be here in my full capacity as a human being, a woman, a 2-time Olympian, a 3-time world champion, with 6 gold medals, 3 of which are in the room with us in case you needed proof, as a world record holder still, a licensed social worker, a full-time student who is currently halfway through her master's program with a perfect 4.0 GPA, a full-time mom to a 3-year-old little boy, and currently in crisis. Yeah, you see, the definition of crisis is simply a time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger. And right now, I am not at all afraid or ashamed to admit that I am experiencing intense difficulty right now. Yet far too many of us and far too often do we have this belief that it could not possibly happen to us, couldn't possibly be me. I am here to implore you to embrace the complexities of crisis and the nuance of the word "and," because I am both a high achiever and in crisis. You see, back in the summer of 2021, I was competing at the Olympic trials for the postponed Tokyo Olympics. So as the reigning Olympic champion in not 1 but 2 events, those were my titles to defend. But I had to make my team first. So you don't get a bye for being the Olympic champion from the previous cycle. You have to go make the team again. I don't know if you know this, but competing at an Olympic trials is a whole lot like competing in the Hunger Games. So In 2016, I was contesting both the 100-meter dash and the long jump. And because of scheduling by the powers that be, Team USA had both of those events take place at the exact same time. Yeah. And my coach, who was an American, was hired by the Netherlands. And so, additionally, my American coach actually had to remain in the Netherlands while his American athlete, who was trying to make the Team USA, competed at the Olympic trials by herself. Logistically, it was a nightmare. I ran the 100-meter dash, took off my track spikes, walked over to the long jump pit, put on my long jump spikes, took a long jump, made that team, took those spikes off, and walked back to the 100. I made both teams, but woo, Hunger Games. It's not quite accurate to say that the Olympic trials are something that I actually looked forward to. It's just one of those things you know you need to go through to get to what you actually want, in that case, the Olympic Games. And all of us in this room, athletes or not, have those things in our life where, you know, you don't really want to have to do that, but you know it's necessary to get to the next thing that you actually want to do. Anyway, having competed in a few other trials before that, I understood that it was both a terrifying and electric environment to compete in. That is, unless, of course, you're 2 months pregnant, which I was. And this is the part where I have to publicly ask for forgiveness for all the times I've turned on TLC and laughed judgmentally at the show I didn't know I was pregnant. I will be honest with you. This news that I was pregnant meant the end of the world, the end of a life, and definitely the end of a career. Because at that time, what I was running for and what I was competing for was for a chance at a life that belonged only to me, that was authored by me. Because just a few years before that, I was in yet another crisis. You see, I also was in an abusive marriage. And again, I was so sure that this would never be me, but it was me for 5 years. We are all so sure of so many things until we're in it. And during that time, during that marriage, I made Olympic teams and I won medals representing my country on the track and on your televisions while fighting for my life at home. I was constantly in crisis. I was constantly in danger. Each one of my medals won during that time a memento of madness and chaos. You would not have known that, though, by looking at me. You see, crisis actually looks different on everyone. I would eventually find the support I needed to leave that abusive relationship, only to be thrust into crisis again and re-victimized by the divorce proceedings itself. I remember being in an airport lounge while traveling throughout Europe in the summer, and I was overhearing two businessmen lamenting their own divorce proceedings because, you know, I guess it was all the rage at the time. One man said to the other, "Hey man, you should have known. It was cheaper to keep her." To which the other responded, "No, man, no. The price is high because it's worth it." Words that I actually needed to hear. And I remember thinking about my bank account when he said those words, because I did believe I was worth it. But my resources didn't reflect my worth. They couldn't support the fight that I was in. And I remember how embarrassing that was for me. I was just trying to do the right thing and live with self-worth and dignity. Each of my medals is a snapshot of a moment in time when I, in full crisis, was still able to achieve something remarkable anyway. I'm here to challenge the idea of what needing help looks like, and to be a mirror for those who don't give themselves enough credit for showing up at the starting line which is what all of our families do who seek help at Providence House. So fast forward to finally coming terms with my pregnancy, right, and my forced retirement, and how at 36 years old, that essentially did mean the end of my athletic career. The crisis then became, I'm completely unprepared for life after sport and motherhood. I did know one thing though, if I was going to have a chance at a life I could be proud of, I needed to finish college because I left early because I turned pro. So I went to the University of Tennessee, like Natalie shared, on both an academic and athletic scholarship. I had a typical freshman year. I got my butt kicked weekly in the SEC, head bashed every week. The only thing I did well was I avoided the freshman 15. It's the only thing I did well. Sophomore year, though, everything changed. I was undefeated. SEC Indoor and Outdoor Conference champion, NCAA Indoor and Outdoor champion. Come summertime, we went to USA Nationals. I make Team USA. Come August, I win world championships, beating out the entire world for my very first world championship title at 19 years old in Helsinki, Finland. The results, though, of that where all the shoe companies came knocking, and suddenly we were in a bidding war with Adidas and Nike and all these people saying, what are you gonna do? And you know what I did? I took the money and ran. Because you know what they say, you can always go back to school. You gotta strike when the iron's hot. Who knows how long the ankles or the knees are going to last? And so I left school, and Nike shipped me to a full-time training group. You probably heard the name, Jackie Joyner-Kersee. Yeah, I was training with her. For 17 years, I lived in the Netherlands and South Africa and all these places, learning different languages and training and representing my country and winning medals. But that all came to an end when retirement happened. And so I returned to Tennessee, who just so happened to have a program that allowed me to return to school and have it paid for, because I left school on a scholarship, they returned me to the scholarship, which is a very cool program, by the way. I returned to the social work program because my lived experience and my education, I felt I could be a particularly impactful practitioner. Even though I was scared about what my future would look like, I was able to keep moving forward. Why? Because the cure for worry is action. And all any of us can do is the next right thing. So, pregnant, my partner and I knew all about the Black maternity crisis, where Black women are 3 times more likely to die in childbirth, more likely to be ignored by their doctors, so we prepared. I had my advance directive and my will in my hospital bag next to my I'm new here outfit for my baby to bring home. We had hard discussions before we ever stepped foot in the hospital about who to save should either of our lives be at risk. Why? Because the cure for worry is action, and all you can do is the next right thing. I went into labor on a beautiful day in California, with one exception. I was only 26 weeks pregnant. Another crisis. We arrived at the hospital, and my doctor said that the best case scenario would be to try to remain pregnant. And so I tried for 4 days in an inverted hospital bed to stay pregnant with the help of gravity. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it was terrible. What I had feared would happen was happening. Slowly but surely, over the course of 4 days, as I tried to stay pregnant for my baby, I began to die, and my medical team wasn't listening. I could feel my life slipping away as I tried to fight for the life of my son, because we are so sure of what we want to do and the things that we'll do until we're in it. All of those discussions that I had had with my partner beforehand didn't even matter to me in the moment anymore. In that moment, I was a mom who wanted nothing more than to give life to my son, even if it cost me my own. But thank God for my partner, because terrified as he was, he stuck to the plan. He whispered that he wasn't leaving that hospital without me. He stepped into the hall and demanded the doctor return my bed to neutral. So she did. And the minute she did, my heart rate and the baby's plummeted, and they rushed us both into surgery. I had my son at 26 weeks and 4 days, and together we faced a new crisis, the NICU. On my first day entering the NICU, a social worker hugged me, told me what to expect and how to navigate this strange new world. We were there for 73 days. I spent 12 hours a day praying, singing, reading, holding, crying, being with my son, but that social worker changed everything for me. So it was truly an act of providence that I became aware of Providence House, because finishing my degree required an in-person internship. I had originally asked to work with survivors of domestic violence, but my field instructor was not comfortable with the organizations available, and so she asked if I would look into Providence House, which I had never heard of before that moment. I knew immediately it was where I meant to be. I knew immediately that Ashley Stock was meant to be my supervisor, and that Aaron George and Nora Conway were meant to be my colleagues. It did not occur to me to share anything about my, superstar track and field backstory, because I felt that it was the work that they did that was truly remarkable. It is remarkable for Providence House clients to show up and say, I need support. It's remarkable for Providence House's childcare team to take care of children while the parents do the next right thing to navigate their crises. It is remarkable that the social work team can hold space for these families who want what we all want, a life worth living, a life to be proud of. Crisis looks differently, manifests differently. We react to it differently. We show up in the face of it differently. But one thing that should always remain steady and sure is where you can go for that support. Providence House is that support for so many families here in Cleveland. May I be living proof that crisis can happen to anyone at any time. And may I be a reminder that success means something different to every person in this room. But to our families that we serve at Providence House, success means being able to lean on the support and services of Providence House, to work with us to navigate themselves out of crisis, shift away from survival mode, secure and stabilize their families, and grow together in love, because we are their village. Please, if it's in your heart and within your means, please give to the children and families of Providence House so they can achieve their dreams and goals.